what is an algorithm? Why is it changing? And why do we always have to worry about them? We're going to answer those questions today. Look, I know that there's a lot of disclosures in the beginning of these videos. If you are the type of person that does not like watching these, YouTube has chapters, and I'm going to make sure that I add different parts of this video, and depending on what you consider important about the algorithm, whatever it is that you're trying to figure out right now, you can go ahead and skip to that, okay? Another thing about this is that if you do in fact have questions, I know that I'm not going to be able to answer everything about the algorithm, but if you have any questions about the algorithm, where it's at on specific social media platforms, I mean, TikTok just got banned for like a day, so I think that one's still going to be relevant. Go ahead and drop those below, and make sure to subscribe if you have anything that has to do with marketing. I'm going to be putting out videos like these consistently to make sure that you're up to date when it comes to anything that might be changing or that is relevant to make you successful in marketing. So let's get to it. Let's talk about the algorithm first and what it is not. Most people are trying to blame this algorithm and say things like, I'm shadow banned, right? They're trying to say things like, why doesn't it get shown to my friends anymore? And so I think that what you have to realize is that there are two different parts to this, right? One of them is that it is not shown to your friends anymore, and it is still shown to a small percentage of your friends, but that is what's called the base group. It is shown to a small percentage of people to make sure that this is a video that people want to watch. So we are living in a performance-based algorithm, which means that the better that your piece of content performs, the more people that it's going to be shown to. So that's one. You are not shadow banned. If you think that you are shadow banned, there's only three things that actually are capable of shadow banning you in some perspective. But if you do go that far, you're probably going to be and lose your account more than anything. Okay. The first one starts with the letter G. I'm not going to mention all what the actual word of this is because I don't want to actually have myself knocked off. The first one starts with the G. Everyone has a right to have one. It's a very hot topic within the USA. Okay. If you start posting about these, you probably will get shadow banned. You'll have a lower reach. You will get something that says that your account has been disabled from as many people seeing your post as possible, okay? The second one, it starts with the letter S, okay? It's for both men and women, and it's the way babies are made. If you post things that are too much in that nature, there is a chance that you will be shadow banned, okay? And finally, the third one, very, very hot topic as well. It's legal in some places. It's not legal in another. There's natural forms of this, and there's illegal and chemical forms of this, and it starts with a D. Okay, we were shown about this a lot in school, and it's in reference to dare. D.A.R.E, and then a final dot. And everybody that was not doing these was apparently cool in school. So those are the big three that if you do not want to actually get shadow banned, do not post and do not talk about those, okay? But when it comes to the algorithm, look, there's one thing that is going to make sure, and I have terrible writing, but I want you guys to see it. It is attention. And Gary Vee has actually been talking about this for about 2 or 3 years now. He came out with a new book. I recommend you read it. It's called Day Trading Attention. There's another book which actually is, I would say, better than his because this one came out, I believe, 10 or 15 years ago. It's called Attention Merchants. It's the same concept. Day trading attention is like you give me attention, I give you attention. Let's trade this attention, and then we monetize it. Attention Merchants is actually talking about how there are certain people who get all this attention and then resell it to others. It goes into the way that MTV used to have all this attention. They were putting out on music videos. All of a sudden, they started losing that attention, and they had to pivot. It talks about the real world, really how we got live TV, real world TV, how the way that the Kardashians started making their money because they had to pivot from music videos, and now they started doing these types of shows like the Jersey Shore, and it ended up being really good for them. But they were attention merchants. They had to find ways to be able to gather all that attention and resell it to others. So right now, in the way that we're living in this performance-based society in which the more attention that you can actually gather, the better that you will do. And so if you are not able to foster attention, then pretty much you won't do well. Even your own friends don't want to watch it. Trust me, it's not that you're shadow banned. It's that your friends think you're a loser too. I know it's a little harsh. I think we have to be very real with ourselves and say, if this piece of content did not take off, it's because people did not want to see it. Here's the realistic part of the way that the algorithms work right now as well, though, is your own friends might be a hater. Okay, and if your friends are a hater and you have, let's say, 1,000 people that watch your content and do not engage or like it, then it won't be shown to other people, right? And so it might even be better for you to start a new account without your friends, because if you have 5 people who engage with your content and share it on their stories all the time, it's going to show that ratio and say, hey, this is actually, even though it's a small account, it's a very good account because people are choosing to engage with it, and then it'll show it to more people. But if your own friends are not liking it, then there's an issue there. You might want to remove them as followers. There is a point in removing them followers, and that would be so that way you can do that. Okay, the algorithms that you have right now, depending on what platform you are in, right? You still have LinkedIn, which is very relevant. You have YouTube, you have TikTok, you have Instagram. There's Facebook. Pinterest is another really good one. Some of these algorithms act more like search engines, and they might give you a longer longevity to what it is that you're doing. Some of them prefer for you to post less, just depending on the psychology of the people on there. I've noticed that on Pinterest is actually a search engine. I don't know if you guys knew this. You can post something on there, and as long as it is relevant, it'll keep showing it to more and more people depending on how popular that pin is. So, for example, I posted a pin of me in Chicago. I want to say about 45 days ago. It's still being shown to people. It doesn't die because people are looking for a picture of somebody at the bean, and the way that you title and describe it, it'll keep getting showed. Now you have things like Instagram, that once a reel dies, it pretty much dies. It doesn't have a second wind. YouTube has a second wind sometimes because it is still being searched for. It has some relevancy depending on the keywords that you have. So you really have to know the algorithms that are out there, how they're changing, why they're changing. On Facebook, you can get away with posting 3 to 4 times a day, whereas on Instagram, if you post 1 to 2 times, by the third time, most of your audience is getting annoyed because it's not really a content driven platform. It's a reels driven platform in which most of the time people are spending times on the reel tab. Okay, so as long as you're able to understand who it is on each platform and whether or not they're getting annoyed by your content, that is what really will make you succeed. If you choose to just keep posting and posting and posting without any real thought, and your audience gets annoyed and nobody engages, then at that point, that's where you don't have a lot of this success with the algorithm. Now, the algorithm will continue to change. Adam Mosseri, ADMA, and then Mosseri. It's either 2 S's or 2 I's. It's really, really hard. Anyway, that guy, CEO of Instagram, if you want to learn about the algorithm, what's new, what's going on, they're actually putting out a lot of information out there themselves. When it comes to YouTube, most people will actually just make speculation so that way you buy the course that they have. But because we live in an information standpoint right now where most of the CEOs are actually coming out and talking about it, Elon Musk put out his algorithm a while back when he bought the company of Twitter and turned it into X. So there's so much information that you can get directly from the source that you don't have to be guessing and wondering. But you do have to understand that these platforms are now based on your performance. So if you want to do well organically, you have to perform. And the last thing that I really want to bring to your attention is before, when you had content, you were, maybe dealing with this small bit right here, right? Right now, with how many people are on social media, with how many people are creating content with the AI tools like CapCut, the Captions app, you have ChatGPT that people are using for ideas. It's so easy to create content, and more than that, it's so easy to create mediocre content that nobody wants to watch. And so, if you're not getting views, it's not that you are also not doing that well. Your piece of content could be really good, but because before you were in this little circle or this little square, and now you're competing with everybody here, your content could be very, very good. But there is competition with other people who are posting things that their stuff needs to be shown as well. And so it makes it really, really difficult to show your content to other people if it is not on the same performance level as someone else's. So I know that there's a lot of information to take in. Maybe I did or didn't answer your question. If you have specific questions pertaining to the algorithm, whatever platform it is, and I can help out, drop the comment below. If you found this video useful, if you could please give me a like, a subscribe, so that way I know that this is beneficial and useful to you. And if you do find this beneficial, and you know that there's somebody that's growing their personal brand, their business, and it's beneficial and useful for them, if you could share with them, it would mean the world to me. It would mean the world to them, so that way they can get ahead. This year, I've made it a big responsibility and a goal of mine to put out as much content as I can to help people, and not really safeguard or try to water down information. So if this helps out, I hope that it does. And if you have any questions for me, I'm here to help.